Alright guys, Papa Top 912 coming at you with another one of our famous recipes. And the recipe tonight is going to be one from way back in my past. Been eating this since I was a wee little lad. I've probably been eating this when I first got on solid food. But it's a low country, geechee, gullah, whatever you want to call it. But it's a staple down in the low country. Georgia, South Carolina, on the Atlantic coast down in that area. And this is called red rice. And it's about as simple of a recipe as the name. It's just red rice. But it's so delicious, so filling, and it just brings back so many memories of my past. So I'm going to go over real quick the ingredients that go in this thing, and then we're going to get to the stove and we're going to start whipping it up. So what I got right here on the cutting board, that's one medium-sized onion, not super finely diced, but a little better than a rustic chop. So somewhere between fine and rustic, midway between there. And we're going to take those and we're going to saute those down in some oil. And the oil I'm going to use is actually the renderings from that bacon. That is 6 pieces of thick cut bacon. And I just basically, I cooked those in the microwave and I just collected the oil in the bottom of the dish. And I poured those drippings into my pan that I'm going to use to saute my onions and my rice. In the middle there, tomato paste. This is the small can of paste because I'm only going to be making 2 cups of rice. If I'm making 2 cups, I'll use the small one. But when I make 3 to 4 cups, I'll use the next size up can, your regular size can. Right there behind there is the star of the show, which is the smoked sausage. Choose the smoked sausage of your liking. Everybody got a sausage that they prefer. Just put that sausage in this dish. That's 1 pack of smoked sausage links right there. And then right there, you all know what that is. That's my better than bouillon chicken base. I'm just going to mix that with my water. That's going to be my flavoring. And then my rice, I'm using a blend of jasmine and basmati rice. Now the traditional red rice recipe, most people use parboiled rice, like an Uncle Ben style. But I'm just really not a fan of the parboiled rice as much as these are grain rices. So I prefer to use the jasmine and the basmati mix. And that's everything that goes into this. So the first thing you do, you saute down the onions, just get them translucent. And then you take the rice, which I'm going to use 2 cups of rice. And I'm going to put that in the same pan with those onions. And I'm going to start cooking that rice, kind of like rice-a-roni. And then once that rice gets a little color on it, on those grains, I'll then pour in 1.5 cups of water per cup of rice. So it'll be 3 cups of water, but it's not going to be water. It's going to be, the chicken stock. But what I do, I put in 2 cups of water, and then I just take a big tablespoon of that chicken base and mix it with the 3rd cup. And then I pour that in, and then immediately once that's in there, I take that tomato paste, put it in there, and start mixing it around, getting it to dissolve in the water. And from that point, I start checking the consistency. Because you want it to be not watery, but not too tight. It's just going to be like mushy. But as the rice cooks, it's going to soak up all of that, and it's going to turn out nice and firm. So it's a feel. Sometimes you got to put a little more water. Your pan may be a little hot. Some of it evaporates. Your rice might be a little thirsty. So you got to play with it. But I start at 1.5 to 1. And rarely will I ever go up past 2. So, I will have another cup of water. But I don't like to use it because I like a drier rice. Once you get that rice kind of where you want it, you're going to take that bacon and you're going to crumble that up. I normally just crumble up the bacon while the rice and onions are sauteing. Crumble up the bacon and then just slice those sausages into medallions. Just drop those in the pan, mix them up, put your lid on it, and dump it in the oven. And then it's going to cook in the oven. I cook mine at 375, somewhere for around 30 to 40 minutes. And, again, every oven's a little different, so you know how your oven cooks. But that 375 works good in my oven. And you just want to cook it. Once I get about 20 minutes in, I will take it out, check it, stir it, see if it's you know, if it's got enough moisture in it, or if it's still, the rice grains are real dry, I'll go ahead and put in a little bit of water, maybe a half a cup of water in there to help it steam some more. But it's an iterative process. Just, you know, cooking rice itself is very iterative. But if you kind of follow this, I promise you, you will fall in love with this recipe. So I'm going to shut it down right here and move over to the stove and start caramelizing the onions and the rice. All right, guys, welcome back. So you can see here, I got my pan here. I got those bacon renderings in there. I didn't even strain them or nothing because I'm cooking with the bacon anyway. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get these onions in there. And we're going to just sweat those out for a minute until they get translucent. I don't want them to caramelize because I'm going to put that rice in there too, and they'll caramelize with that rice. So right now I'm just trying to sweat them to kind of give them to break down a little bit. As soon as they get clear, I'm going to go ahead and put that rice in there. Alright guys, so you see right there, those are nice, turn nice and colored, and they're just about to start caramelizing. So I want to get that rice in there now. Let that rice take off some of the heat. And then you want to stir that rice up. Try to get each grain, get a little oil on it. And then just kind of press it flat in the pan and just let it cook. You want it to brown, just like rice-a-roni. Alright, so that's where I want it to be right there. Getting some color on those grains, but you don't want to burn them. So I'm going to immediately go ahead and pour this water in. And get this here stock. Now the trick with the stock is, it's a thick paste. So what I do in that last cup, I put it in the microwave. And I heat it up for about a minute and a half. And that'll help it dissolve. And then I always just cut this can on the top and the bottom. And that helps me get the paste out a lot easier. Just like that. Then immediately get to dissolving that paste into the rice. And you can see it looks very liquidy right now. But as that paste starts to dissolve and that rice starts to suck up the water, it's going to do what it needs to do. Now I had this on a high heat, so that made that rice brown relatively quick. You know, you can slow it down if you want to, take your time with it, but I do this enough. I kind of know where I want to be with it. And now you can see this starting to turn orange or red. That's why we call it red rice. So keep just trying to get it all dissolved and mixed in. And then we'll taste it. See if it needs anything else. That was 1 big tablespoon of the chicken stock mixed in with a cup of water. And it was, I mean, it wasn't like heaping and running over, but it was a full tablespoon. So if I need a little more flavor, I'll add a little more of that. So now you can see this tomato paste is just about all dissolved in there, and it's starting to get thick. You can see the bubbles coming in. So now I want to turn that fire down. So now you can see it kind of thickening up, getting a little, as we call, soggy. There's one thing I didn't mention before, but I also, once I get to this point, I like to sprinkle a little sugar across the top of this pot. And it's not to make it sweet, it's just to take the bitterness off of the tomato paste. So I'm going to get me a little scoop of sugar now. And just mix that in. And my liquid proportions right now are just right. just right. That rice is starting to swell. You can see that liquid done thickened up from the paste. So now I'm going to take me a little taste. Yes, sir. I guarantee. That's right on the money. Right on the money. So at this point, we come back with our sausage and our bacon. And we just mix those in to get them spread evenly throughout the pot. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we were looking for. That's exactly what we were going for. Now, I did hold back 3 of those sausages, so I didn't use the whole pack because we're going to have us a couple sausage dogs while we watch the football game tonight. But remember how I told you it was going to get thick? It's thick now. And that's what you want. So now I'm going to get my top. I'm going to cover this bad boy up. And stick her on in the oven. So, nice lid right on top of it. Take this whole pan, stick it right in the oven. It's another reason I like to cook with stainless steel, because you can go from the flame to the oven to the broiler. It don't matter. You're not gonna mess up your pan, worrying about temperature or anything. And just remember that it does get hot, so don't grab it. Like this piece right here is very hot right now, but this handle's cool. So I'm gonna take this now, slide it in the oven. In about 20 minutes, we'll pull it out and let you see how it's starting to cook and see if we need to add any more water or if it's just gonna finish up cooking on its own. All right, guys, so here we are now. See, this rice is cooking good. It's been about 20-25 minutes. So I'm just gonna kind of stir it up here. And you can see some of those grains are still white, so they're not cooking. So I'm gonna put about a quarter cup of water in here just to make sure we get that steam. Get it to steam some more and make sure it do right. I'm gonna put just a little bit of water in there. Make sure we get enough to make it steam. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up. Put that water and get it back in the oven. But you can see it's going good, but you can like look right in there. See that piece? It's still white. Everything else is turning orange. That means it's still a little crunchy, a little crispy. Ain't soaked up enough flavor yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little more water in here and put this back in the oven. Be back once I check on it the next go round. All right, guys, here's the rice after I let it steam on itself about another 20 minutes. All those pieces that still look like they were a little bit underdone, they're all done now. It's nice and dry like I like it. All the grains are individualized in there. So this is a perfect pot of red rice. So once again, give this a try and then leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Papa Top 912 signing off.